For this exercise, you're going to be using a graphite stick from your drawing pencil kit, and from the second kit that I gave you, a wood stylus, scratchboard paper, and then a photo of your choosing. So when getting started with Scratchboard, you're going to want to choose an image that has a lot of contrast and texture that shows up really, really great in Scratchboard technique. And I printed out the picture I chose in black and white because it really helps to visualize exactly what is black and white on the paper. And what I'm going to do is I made the picture about the same size as my Scratchboard sheet, and I'm going to flip that drawing over, and I'm going to use my graphite stick and cover the back with graphite. It does not have to be super thick because it just takes a little bit of graphite to show up on top of the Scratchboard paper. So place it on top of my Scratchboard paper, and you can tape this down if you have a lot of detail that you want to get in there. I just want to get an outline of my main subject. So I'm going to use a drawing pencil to go over the outlines of my photograph, just to get the main areas that I feel like might be hard for me to get either proportionately correct or spatially on the paper. So I'm going around, and I'm using a good amount of pressure, but I'm not pressing down really hard, just hard enough where I can feel the paper give a little bit underneath. And I'll need two pictures because this one will lose some of the detail as I draw over it with my pencil. And you'll want to check as you're drawing to make sure that the pencil, the graphite, is transferring to the Scratchboard. So if you lift, you can see those lines underneath. And because you're not actually scratching into the Scratchboard, you can go ahead and kind of outline the areas. Give yourself a guide where you're going to be scratching off a lot of the India ink. And then as far as the background goes, I'm actually not going to create this background on this drawing. I'm going to do a different kind of background. So I'm just going to trace the features of the horse as a guideline and leave the background black. So you can see I've got the transfer of the graphite to the surface. So once I've practiced with my stylus and learned a few of the marks that it will make, I'll go ahead and get started. I prefer to start on what I know is going to be the lightest, and always scratch in the direction, especially if you have an animal with hair, scratch in the direction of the hair. And if you have broad areas, you can kind of use the side of your stylus. So I placed my Scratchboard on a harder surface. I was on this wood desk, which was kind of making the grain come through in my Scratchboard. So I will take my time and follow my lead. You can also use the back side of your stylus. It'll scrape off a wider mark. Don't be afraid to use different types of tools. The edge of a key works well too. What you don't want to do is you don't want to push so hard that you actually gouge the surface of the paper. So keys can be quite sharp, but they make really nice thin lines. You want to try to do a different texture for your background so it doesn't try to read the same as the texture on your subject. You can see how I keep adding and taking away, adding texture by taking away the black from the Scratchboard. Good luck with your picture. And remember to think about the idea of contrast and how contrast adds to the composition of an artwork.